Okay, so be honest. You ever run into those online money-making things? The ones that just sound too good to be true, like click a few buttons, get rich.
Oh, totally. They always pop up when you're like scrolling through social media, dreaming of that early retirement.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we're looking at today. You sent this in this document. It's in Spanish. The title's all Guardar Profunda.pdf. But get this. It claims it can turn, like just your regular online stuff, into hundreds of euros.
Okay, that's intriguing. Color me skeptical, though, gotta say.
Oh, for sure, as you should be. We were both kind of side-eyeing it at first glance. But what caught our attention, it's not just vague promises. There's actual steps laid out.
Interesting. So it's like not just hype, but a glimpse into how someone's actually trying to do this with AI and all that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you up for unpacking this supposed method?
Let's dive in, see what's what.
All right, so they start with something familiar, YouTube. But not just watching, it's all about grabbing the transcripts.
Okay, already thinking ahead. Transcripts, that's pure info, ready to use. Where are they going with this?
You're catching on. They even give this example, channel called David75. You find a video, go to more, copy the transcript.
Right, for people who haven't used them, those are the text versions of everything said. YouTube's pretty good at doing that automatically now.
Yeah, they even say to use like WordPad or even your phone's notes, just save it as plain text.
Ah, prepping the data, make it easy for the next step, which I'm guessing is where the AI comes in.
Ding, ding, ding. Step 3 is where it gets wild. You go to Notebook LM, that's a Google AI tool, and, well, you know the drill. Upload that text file.
Okay, now we're talking. Notebook LM. That's some powerful stuff. It analyzes and summarizes huge chunks of text. But how does that make money?
Get this, the document says Notebook LM takes that YouTube transcript, analyzes it, and spits out, wait for it, a 2-speaker podcast conversation, like a whole episode from that.
Now that is clever, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
We always hear about AI making content, but turning a YouTube video into a whole podcast, that's new.
Right. It really does feel like content creation is changing fast. But, of course, the big question, does the money part actually pan out?
The €1,000,000 question, huh? We're here because this thing claims to turn online time into cash. So far, it's YouTube and AI, but where are the euros?
So the document says once you've got this AI podcast, you upload it everywhere, like YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. But they specifically say to target English speakers.
Interesting. So they're not just thinking about making the thing, they're thinking about getting it out there to a big audience that's actually pretty smart.
And to, like, prove it works, they use TED as an example. You know, those educational videos with millions of views on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. TED, sure. They've got a huge following, always putting out good stuff. I'm sure they're doing all right for themselves.
Exactly. This document even throws around numbers, like estimating what TED could be making from their YouTube channel. But here's the thing. They make it sound like just uploading any old podcast will automatically get you TED levels of success.
And that's where this whole scheme kind of falls apart, right? TED's success is built on years of making their brand, honing their content, finding their audience. You can't just copy that overnight by slapping together a podcast from a YouTube transcript. It takes more than just churning out content.
It's like saying, hey, that bakery down the street makes killer bread and they're raking it in. We just got to bake something and we'll be rich too.
Exactly. There's an art to it, right? Just like a good podcast takes more than just throwing words together. You got to know what your listeners want, find your niche, and keep them coming back for more.
This document feels like it's pushing that set it and forget it passive income dream, but just pumping out AI-generated stuff without any personality probably won't get you very far.
I agree. And speaking of presentation, the document also talks about visuals, which is kind of funny for a podcast, right?
Right, because podcasts, you think audio, but this document takes it a step further.
They suggest adding some visual element, even something super simple, like using a free tool like CapCut to create a moving background.
Like those old lyric videos where it's just words over shapes and colors. Haven't seen one of those in ages.
Yeah, basically, they even include screenshots in the document.
And let's just say they're not exactly winning any design awards. But their argument is keep it simple, especially if you're trying to pump out content quickly.
While simple can be good, especially if you're just starting out, I think they're missing a chance here. Even with podcasts, visuals are getting more important. People are listening on YouTube where a good-looking video can really make a difference.
It's true. When I'm scrolling through YouTube, I'm way more likely to click on something with an interesting thumbnail or visual, even if it's a podcast.
It's about grabbing attention, standing out online. If you've just got a static image or a boring background, you're missing a chance to connect with people.
It's like the difference between a plain brown box and a beautifully wrapped gift. They both might have something great inside, but the presentation just adds a little something.
Exactly. And let's be real, the internet is full of those beautifully wrapped gifts, all competing for attention. So why not put in a little effort to make your content shine, even if you're using AI as a starting point?
So it's not that simple visuals are bad. It's more about getting the bigger picture of how visuals matter. Even for a podcast, they shouldn't be an afterthought.
You got it. And this goes back to what we were talking about before, the difference between just making content and crafting something good. Anyone can follow these steps, right? Copy a transcript, feed it to the AI, add a basic background, boom, podcast episode. But is that really going to connect with anyone? Is it going to cut through all the noise online and bring in the euros? I'm not so sure.
It's like this document is offering a shortcut to success.
Right.
But like with any shortcut, you're probably missing the best parts, the learning, the connections, the feeling of building something you're proud of.
Exactly. It's not about saying AI is useless. It's about being realistic. AI can be a really helpful tool for making content, but it can't replace the human touch.
So for our listener who found this document, maybe got their hopes up and are now listening to us pick it apart, what are some key takeaways?
Well, first, don't get discouraged just by being here, listening to this. You're already doing great. You're thinking critically, engaging with these ideas. And that's so important, especially when you're surrounded by make money online promises everywhere.
Taking the time to slow down, question things, dig a little deeper, that's where the real growth happens.
Absolutely. And second, don't underestimate what AI can do, but at the same time, don't expect it to do everything. These tools are awesome for things like transcription, getting ideas, even getting over writer's block, but they're not a magic button for all your content creation problems.
Like we were saying before, they're kind of like fancy kitchen gadgets having a top-of-line oven and a super blender. Doesn't mean you can cook like a Michelin star chef.
Such a good analogy. It's all about how you use the tools, not just having them.
So maybe instead of seeing this document as a guaranteed path to riches, our listener can see it as a starting point for their own journey. Play around with these AI tools, see how they work for you in your creative process.
Exactly. Use them to boost your own skills, not to replace them completely.
Because at the end of the day, what makes content stand out is your unique voice, your perspective, your story. That's what people connect with.
And that's something no AI can replicate.
It's like they're offering a shortcut, but you miss out on the best stuff, the learning the connections, feeling good about building something yourself.
Right. It's not that AI is useless, but gotta be real. It can help make content, but it's not human.
So for someone listening who maybe saw this document, got their hopes up, and now we're like dissecting it, what should they walk away with?
Well, first off, don't get discouraged. Being here, listening to this, means you're already doing something right. You're thinking critically, not just falling for any promise.
It's easy to get caught up in that. So yeah, slowing down, questioning, that's where the growth is.
Exactly. Second thing, AI is powerful, don't get me wrong, but don't expect miracles. Good for transcription, ideas, even that writer's block, but not a magic solution.
Like we said, fancy kitchen gadgets. Awesome oven doesn't make you a chef.
Perfect analogy. Tools are great, but it's how you use them.
So maybe instead of instant riches, our listener sees this as a starting point. Mess around with AI, see how it fits into your creative thing.
Exactly. Could spark ideas for a podcast, then you bring your own voice, your experiences to build it out.
Because that's what stands out, right? Your unique thing, what people connect to.
AI can't copy that. Not yet, at least.
This document, even if its promises are iffy, it got us thinking about AI, content, the future of work. That's interesting.
More interesting than a get-rich-quick scheme, for sure.
It's true. It's not just about the money. It shows how we're all figuring out these new tools, what they can do, how things are changing. That's going to be more and more important.
So, as we wrap up, something for the listener to think about. When you try these AI tools, don't just focus on the how-to, ask why. Why create? What stories matter to you? That'll lead to something more fulfilling creatively and professionally.
Love that. Who knows? The journey might be better than any quick buck. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep creating.